What's up, everybody? What's going on? Lord Sovereign here for the Iron Lords podcast and lordsofgaming.net. Coming to you live from the beautiful ILP compound in West Hills, California. Today is the final day of E3, and apparently the Lords have saved the very best for last. Earlier this morning, Lord Cognito had the privilege of sitting in with CD Projekt Red and their seminal RPG, Cyberpunk 2077. He had a 1-hour demoing of the game. So, just to give a little bit of context of Cyberpunk 2077, it's one of the most anticipated games coming out for any platform the next coming year. It's coming out in March, I believe it is. That's the March. Okay. So last year, when the game was originally announced and shown on Microsoft stage, everybody thought it looked fantastic. And everything that we saw on screen was basically in-game engine. And of course, last year press also had about a 1-hour demo that was not initially released to the public that absolutely blew everyone away.
Crazy.
In terms of the world that they were showing, in terms of the depth they were showing. It was absolutely amazing. So this year, when Cyberpunk appeared on Microsoft stage once again, we got the breathtaking one, Keanu Reeves, coming out and showing that the game looked even better than it did last year. And once again this year, the press was privy to about a 1-hour demo that showcased all the changes that the game has gone through in the past year. So quickly, I know this an initial impression from Cognito was blown away, amazing. So I'll just give it to you. What were your impressions? What did you think? Just tell me everything.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, CD Projekt Red, man, they've definitely shown a lot of care to this game. Obviously, it's been closed doors mostly every showing. And each time, it gets more phenomenal, the next iteration you see it. The thing about it off top is that the amount of detail and scope and the sheer scope of the game is immense. What they are trying to do is very ambitious. And the thing that struck me off top is right off the back, you're an custom creator.
Okay.
So they're letting you touch the character. They're letting you customize, doing your skin, doing your clothing. You're doing your facial stuff. Very Mass Effect style, Skyrim style. Right. And right off top, Keanu Reeves is there.
Really?
Yeah. So Keanu is kind of almost like a mentor character. Okay. He's not just like an additional NPC. He's a central character to the game. Okay. So he's talking to you, and literally when the character creator finishes, it's like, oh, no one cares how you look. Just come on, let's hurry up and just go. That kind of situation. So right off the top there, and then two things I noticed off top was there was some options as far as personality traits. Okay. So you had street punk or something like that, like streetwise, and then you had corporate, and then you had nomad. And from my understanding, based on those choices, it affects your dialogue path in the game and how you interact with others. So if you're a street punk dude, if you going through messing with the goons, you can see through the BS quicker. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to decipher. You'll get options that the other classes don't even get. Okay. Same thing with corporate and so on and so forth. So it's different ways to diffuse situations and also based on your character, how you act.
So besides those dialogue options, is there anything else in terms of stats that yes. is affected by those pre-canned sort of character options?
Definitely seen skill tree. Two things I seen off top. There was a class called Netrunner, and he seemed very Watch Dogsy. Pretty much anything he looked at, he can interact. You can make, the grill go up. You can make whatever a person is next to interact with and do that kind of stuff. Then I saw another class that was called Strong Solo. So he was picture Colossus from the X-Men, right? Okay. So he had the strong, the cybernetic arms, and he's busting through doors, and he is more brute strength kind of a thing. But definitely I saw skill tree, and then also they had almost Skyrim based on every little action you do. There's you went +10 on aggression, you went +10 on street smart. Your personality goes up by doing it. So every little nuance interaction, you're getting some type of experience in the game with stuff like that.
That's crazy. So. Did you notice if those small little nuances and changes affected dialogue choices as well? Or was it the smallest little change?
Yeah, it was this crazy scene, right, where it's all right, first of all, at the top, they got y'all in I'm going to call it the street version of Wakanda. As a man of color, I got to be honest, prior to this demo, they had the one dude, the brother with the dreads, and he was rocking out, and it looked good. Don't get me wrong. With the shiny, the most amazing dreads you ever seen, no doubt. But this joint, we was in downtown Wakanda, and you got to meet the Connect. And the Connect is like, he's like, yo, I want you to do a job. You go there. He's not trustworthy. He's straight up sound like T'Challa. You know what I'm saying? And then you going down there, and then like you meeting his people. And the cool thing was like you have to meet him at the like a little rendezvous church type situation where his peoples is at. And you go through the crowd, and there's a whole ton of NPCs. You're interacting, and then you get into the middle, and then the Connect is there with the hoodie, like, and you say the little password or whatever. And then again, first off top, I forgot one big thing. No loading on anything.
So when you go from an indoor environment to an outdoor environment, no loading whatsoever, seamless.
No loading indoor, outdoor. No loading with vehicles. No load, like you going in and out seamless. Then you can change the perspective of the vehicle, Grand Theft Auto style, where you get on the motorcycle, third-person view or up-close view. No, they literally, CD Projekt Red was saying, when you're seeing us pause, we're just speeding you further in the game because there's really no loading here. That part was crazy. Yeah.
So besides that, you talked about the aesthetics in downtown Wakanda. What did you feel like? Did you feel it felt like a world that was lived in? Did you feel like the NPCs that were walking around were doing their own thing, not necessarily on a routine? You felt that they were alive in this world? Yeah. Because I think even with Witcher 3, when you start doing your side quests and whatever, you feel like these people really inhabit this world.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely felt like the characters had different paths they were going. There was also the person who was presenting said one part of town that we were, like, don't stay around that part of that hood too long because dudes will pop off. Like, so everybody has specific, it seems like they had specific paths and NPC things that they do throughout their normal day.
Did you notice a real day-night cycle?
Didn't see it off top, so I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. I don't want to say it, but at the end, I mean, where I saw it, it kind of started off day. You met with the Connect. You met with the, I think the name was Placide or whatever, and he was the official person that wants you to do this job to infiltrate something that they don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when the story takes off from that point.
Okay, so one thing that I found interesting about the first time that I got to see Cyberpunk was the idea of hacking and how that is integral to the entire world, and how you interact with the world and how you're able to manipulate things kind of in a way that I recall Deus Ex, like things you can do like that. Did they show more of that? Was that more expansive than the last time?
Yeah, the part was crazy because, like, all right, there's this group of goons that you got to infiltrate, right? They call it the animals, right? So those are the buff dudes that they be juicing out, right? So the funny part with them dudes, right, they hideout is like a gym, right? So there's one point where they're showing you, they said you can attack this whole situation stealth-wise. So they start off the demo that way. You're hiding behind. There's dudes in there about to hit the rack and all that. And then literally, as you look at with your cybernetic hack thing, you can bring the weights down on him and kill him on his set. You can do all type of things to everything. And so again, that part was very Watch Dogs. You know what I'm saying? And I love that part. Then the same scenario, and again, that was a class I believe was called the Net Runner, right? He's the one that's very hack-based. But on that specific mission, the way they were telling us, there was another rogue Net Runner watching us. So if you hacked in, he knew you was there. So if you did that, it was going to alert that person if you ran that class. They did the same scenario, run it back. And this time it was like that strong solo class. He didn't do any of that, right? You don't hack. You brute forced a way, found another path, right? And then you could mix it up. Or, I'm going to tell you this one part is crazy. There's one part where you do go guns blazing, right?
I was just going to ask you about that. Like, how many different ways can you approach every scenario? You can, hacking, obviously. Combat, obviously. Are there just dialogue options that let you to smooth your way out of something?
Yes, you got that. So I saw the dialogue joint again. I think one was the street punk when the dude was trying to finesse you, because it's a part where, all right, in order to do the job, he's got to hack into you. And apparently in Cyberpunk, that's not what you do. You don't let nobody get control of your vital system, and then because basically he want to see through your eyes when you go infiltrate.
So did they say if that's some sort of fail state, if you allow that to happen, or did they even show you what happens if that happens?
They show the scenario that, okay, the dude grab my hand and say, yo, all right, you ready? And you can pull your hand back like, fan, what you doing? Like, we don't do this here. That's not what happens. So he's like, look, and this is the details of the arrangement, it's not going down. Now, they didn't show us the option if you continually refuse, what would happen then, but they just gave the option, okay, you know what, go back in, or, hey, street smart, you know what I'm saying, I'm not stupid, that kind of a deal. So they give you 3 paths, and they're varied. They're very different, very path. It goes on different branching paths.
Okay, so then going into a little more detail on the actual combat, how did you find gunplay to be? How did you find the guns to feel? Did they sound like they were powerful? Tell me a little bit about a combat scenario.
All right. Now, the only negative, I got to say, is not that the combat was whack. Okay. Like, when you was getting busy with the shooting, it was good. You was shooting everybody. The enemies had like level numbers on them. Okay. So like level 33, whatever. And then like even the main connect you were talking to, he was like very high level. So obviously I'm assuming you could just buzz off if you don't want to do the job or whatever. That's fine. But the thing, what I noticed is when you're shooting, I didn't feel like that, that ragdoll kind of thing. Okay. I felt it could have been a little bit more visceral. And actually, during the demo, they asked you if you have any negatives, any things you want them to improve on. And I said, literally, that's the only thing I felt. If I had to nitpick, I feel it could have been the guns don't pop enough for me. Right. For me, for some people, they're going to be fine. For me, as a Destiny guy that got the best gunplay, you know what I'm saying? I like to hit, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing.
So when you talk about how the guns pop, but how about how damage is taken? So you mentioned no ragdoll or whatnot. Yeah. Did you feel like, could you shoot specific limbs? Did they react to the getting shot in a specific area? Because I could have sworn, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I could have sworn the older demo had something like that, where it seemed like the combat could be really gruesome. Right.
I felt the old demo did a better job of that. Okay. Now, again, it could be because of the enemy NPCs we're fighting. These guys called the animals, big brolic dudes, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's just how they react to when they get shot. There's one part where you do kind of fight like a sub-boss kind of character, and he had like this thing on the back that was giving him implants and making his strength keep rising during the entire battle. Right. And if you don't hit that spot, the fight gets longer and longer. And remember I told you, if you ran as a net runner and you hacked and got all the way to that point, the net runner is now assisting that guy and hacking your system, making your screen go blurry, and there's like a timer.
So on the fly, you're trying to combat the net runner and physically combat this guy, fight against this guy. That's amazing.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, so we've talked about the main aspects of the game generally. Go through exactly what the demo showed you. Like, what was the scenario, and then what was the end game of the scenario?
So basically what it seemed like is the NPC that you were meeting up, right? I call them the Wakanda goons. Like, basically what he wanted you to infiltrate. They had a van that they were monitoring. And they noticed that it was in this other industrial area, and they felt like this government agency has a play. And apparently, I forgot the name of them, maybe like a Net Watch or something like that, but they're a very integral character to the game, right? So you're basically doing this job, this guy's hacking into you so that it makes sure that you ensure the job is done, and then he's actually giving you talking play-by-play while you're going through. You get to like a boss area, you beat the boss or whatever, and then again, based on if you pick Netrunner or Strong Solo, you're eventually going to meet that actual agent, that government agency thing. Then the game comes down to very serious dialogue choices because you roll up on them. You can either, at that point, the guy's talking like, look, I know the Wakanda dude said, you know what I'm saying, Pacifica, da-da-da. He said, look, they're going to kill you. As soon as you do this job, it's over. They're going to trust. That's what they do. He said, you're an outsider to that community. Work with me. And he's making a convincing argument. Right, so you got the option to complete the job, lace him out, hack him into, to the Wakanda dudes, and then that'll be your mission. So I believe at that point the demo person agreed to give over the information. So we dropped the government agent, hacked into him. At that point, then you wake up. Because they did do you dirty.
Oh wow, yeah. They did hack you.
They did hack you. They did do you dirty, and then the Keanu Reeves character, who was kind of like your mentor, because again, the story seems very mysterious, but the vibe I'm getting is what makes your character special is there's some implant chip in your brain that's almost like an anomaly. Okay. And that Keanu Reeves character is like a ghost guy that talks to you. That's like your mentor.
He's your Cortana?
He's your Cortana, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what that was. So that kind of saves you. And then when you get out of the situation, most people, like most cybers, don't survive something like that. So they give you the option, like, yo, you want to pull up on them dude that double crossed you. Right. Yeah. So that was the situation that played out.
Wow. Okay, so now that you've seen this, let's talk. Let's talk tech specs. What was it running on?
PC. Definitely running on PC.
Because right, okay, because there was some talk. There was some talk that it was running on PS4 Pro at one point. So maybe that changed, or maybe they had different demo stations. So this was running on PC. What did you see in terms of tech stuff? Was it running at 60 resolution?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely 30. It's not. Again, it's me nitpicking, but I mean, it's an open world game, no loading. Again, PC rig, but it was definitely 30. It was not 60. This comment I want to make about during the fights, though. I know I'm giving the game a little, nitpick with visceral body shots. And I forgot to give it up to the AI, though, because, again, that group, the animals, another part of their little steroid cycle thing that they do is that they got enhanced super speed.
Okay.
So there was one point when you shooting and mixing it up, and the dude is like, boom, 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 and runs down on you. Okay. Like he's weaving to get to you.
And how did all those effects look?
Oh, my God. It looked beautiful because it's like the Flash.
Okay.
Like they're like, shoom, shoom, teleport, get up on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then, one critical part as a strong solo character, again, if you like the guns blazing style, there was a part where the net runner prior, during the firefight, hacked a turret, used the turret to shoot the enemy and stuff like that. Hacked the dude by, like, he had like a grenade in his pocket, almost Watch Dogsy, allowed it to blow up, do all that stuff. So you had that, but then what was dope about the strong arm character, that same turret, when they replayed the situation as the other side, but with the other class, he grabbed the turret, yanked it up off the joint like Terminator 2 style, and you had walking with it like was really good. Like it was crazy.
So did you see? Okay, so in terms of your character, could you spec yourself to be even across the board if you wanted to, or do they want you to sort of lean in one way or another?
Can't definitively say. The vibe I got was that it was very open flowing as far as your stat. They basically showed a stat menu. A lot of stuff they did say menus still work in progress for certain things. Certain things are still not final. So what I saw, the trees looked like you can spec evenly how you want, right? But again, in their defense, they're saying, look, not final, still things to be determined, that kind of thing. So I don't know if they've really dug deep yet on how they want to go with archetypes. But the vibe I got is there's definitely archetypes based on the skills you play. They did confirm that.
There are archetypes. Yeah. And more than likely you'll get special buffs if you go with a certain archetype. Yes. But you can sort of just make your guy from the ground up the way you want.
Absolutely,
okay. Because I would expect that, especially in a world, cyberpunk world, the hacking is such a big thing. So one other thing I wanted to ask, in terms of, like I mentioned before, the side quests, right? The side quests in Witcher 3 were amazing because it felt like they were either very interesting on their own or some way, shape, or form doubled back on the overarching story, right? Did they do any of that, or they just showed you that direct path sort of, and how you could differentiate the direct path that they were showing you in this specific demo? Or did they say, hey, talk to this guy if you want, do something like that?
It was along those lines. The demo, they were keeping us on rails.
Right.
But you can tell you can go off rails because there were characters doing their own thing with dialogue that you can interact with and lead you into a whole other path. There was one part before meeting up with the Placide character, who's, I believe, is a Connect for the job. There was like a guy shooting up at the government agency things that was watching, and there's like there's so many NPCs and everyone doing their own thing, Shenmue style or whatever you want to say, that the game does not hold you back on exploring. You know what I'm saying? It really wants you to. It's just for the sake of the demo. They're telling you, hey, we're going to go here. We're going to do this for the sake of the demo. We're going to go here. We're going to do this. But there's no guarantee. There's no doubt in my mind you can go out all the way and explore those things.
Wow. I got to tell you, man, like, everything you said so far, it's rare that you have a certain level of expectation for a game and that it might exceed that. Meet it is one thing, right? Meet it is another thing that sometimes that never happens. To exceed it is even more amazing. Yeah. And it's you want to hear, like, when you listen to people talking about the game, you think, oh, it's just hyperbole because everybody's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my. And again, I know you were excited for it, but you didn't really play The Witcher 3 too much. No, you haven't really experienced what a CD Projekt Red game is like.
Right.
So, if you want to compare this to what's out there now,
I got you.
And what we know is coming, and and Bethesda, I love you, but we got to talk about this. Start comparing it to what you've played so far, right? As a matter of fact, I'm playing Kingdom Come Deliverance right now on my PC, and that is a game that is it relishes in the little things, right? And that's what makes it interesting. That it's the minute details of what makes it great, right? I think it seems like this is even taking it a step up. So beyond Kingdom Come, any other things you kind of saw compare it to and say, they got to be on watch?
Yeah, listen. Everybody got to be on watch. Because I'm going to tell you right now, listen, I don't care what. I am so glad I saved disappointment for last. I am so glad. Because
you would have been disappointed.
The bar is so here with CD Projekt Red right now that it's like looking at anything else, no disrespect to no other developer, it's just like right now they are so in their bag with it feels next gen. So the closest things I can say is, first of all, if you're a tech guy, if you love things like the Matrix, the whole ambiance of this world is very futuristic, very tech. That hits so many personal notes for me. The techie, the geek, you know what I'm saying? That off rip. Then you throw Keanu in, who's now a central part. Now you already get Matrix vibes off rip. So you like, okay, you good. Now, gameplay-wise, this is, for you Mass Effect fans, that love your dialogue choices, that love weighted, every little nuance decision
is weighted. And the thing is, different to Mass Effect, right? Because Mass Effect, obviously, it's an older game. Yeah. They did what they could with those dialogue branches. But like I said, when you see The Witcher and you see this little innocuous storyline that you think is nothing and somehow doubles back onto the greater story, you're like, how did they manage to weave this and not mess everything up?
Exactly. And that's the evolution of it, right? So that's that dialogue system. And again, this is going to be a game that you're going to play multiple times over because you're going to see what you can't do based on what you don't have. And it's not like simple Mass Effect where it's 2 choices. No, sometimes it's 5.
Right.
Sometimes it's 2. Sometimes it's 3. But there's multiple, and it'll be like, yo, Nomad can say that. Street Punk can do, and it can go whole left.
And that's the thing, because it's not okay, 3 choices that expand into a weave of maybe another 2 choices.
Right.
It's 3 choices that each one has an extension that goes maybe 3 or 4 different ways.
So this is the single player selfish experience. This is all you.
This is all me.
And it's all me because again, no disrespect to The Witcher. It's just that, I love tech, I love futuristic stuff, I love cybernetics, the sci-fi. If you're a sci-fi person, it's on. So again, it's like, yo, this right here is gonna hit a lot. So again, for me right now, it's like this. It's like Mass Effect, Witcher, Watch Dogs had a baby. And it's now some next level open world type situation.
And it's perfect. So you're saying that Elder Scrolls 6 better step it up.
Everybody
has to step it up.
They ain't got no loading. I don't know how they doing that
on this generation. Yeah. I'm almost tempted. I think I'm almost tempted to play it on PC or wait to November when we get the new consoles and play it on the new consoles, because I know it's going to be a cross-gen game. It's definitely one of those games that's going to be cross-gen. I tell you right now, man, just by you talking about it, and that, again, not everybody got a chance to see this. I'm hoping at some point it makes its way to the internet like the last one did, because they said the same thing. It's not, nobody's going to see this except the press, and then months later it came out. So I hope people get to see this. And people that maybe are on the fence about it, whether it's because it's a sci-fi game, whether it's because it's an RPG, they're not into RPGs. I think what Witcher began to do and what Cyberpunk is continuing to do is sort of melding the genres, where if you're somebody who likes combat and like action, you're gonna have that game, and you can mold the game to your play style. And if you're deep into true RPG mechanics, it's still there. Because I think something that Mass Effect got a little crap for is that they simplified it too much and they took out the RPG mechanics.
Yes.
And I think this is able to do both things without sacrificing either.
I'm with you, and I think that's the perfect marriage, because it's like, it's still, sometimes some games get a little too overwhelming, And I didn't feel that with this. I feel it's deep. I feel there's depth there. I just feel that it's gonna hit a lot of nuances that people are gonna fall in love with. A lot of tropes that people are gonna fall in love with. And I'm excited to see where they go with this. I mean, graphically, there's few things that's touching it. As far as like the character models themselves, the faces, the animations, top-notch stuff. And like I said, I mean, just going, like I said, he jumped on a bike to drive to a certain location. You know, you're switching the views and you're just seeing this seamlessly, nonstop, no transition, everything. It's truly remarkable what they're doing. CD Projekt Red's got one, man.
Okay, so the release date is less than a year away. Mm-hmm. Based on what you saw, you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, the games like this, the scope is pretty large, you know, so.
Did they give any indication how, percentage-wise, how far along they are?
Nah, they didn't get percentage-wise. They just talked about, I guess the vibe I'm getting is they're fine-tuning menus and different little skill sets for balance and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna lie, it feels like it's on its way. I mean, who knows? It's all gonna be determined based on how big the scope of it and based on their track record.
So what you played didn't feel like a vertical slice that was created for it.
No.
Like they just picked a part of the game they were working on and showed it to you.
They literally said, like, we're in the middle, like right here. Okay. Like, yeah, this is no vertical slice, no foolery, no fraudery. This was the real deal, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Again, it was controlled in the sense, yes, they had one person playing it and not letting us play it, but they're showing the joint. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm telling y'all right now, man. Shout out to CD Projekt Red, man. They showed tremendous love to LordsOfGaming.net. Honored to actually get a chance to witness it. And I'm telling you, this is the one to look out for. This is the one to look out for, you guys. Anybody on the fence, this is the game. And even a guy who may not be the biggest Witcher guy, you know, I do understand the evolution and why people love that series. And for my tech heads, this is y'all. This is for you, man.
It's crazy because when you look at The Witcher 3 and what it evolved from, right? Witcher 1 is a very different game. Witcher 2, as great as it is a very different game to Witcher 3. To think that maybe this is a franchise, right? It's not just one game. And to think that 2077 is the ground floor, and to think about what maybe a third game in that series would look like, is kind of nuts. But again, like you said, shout out to CD Projekt Red for saying, you know what, we see what's out there. We're going to take it up a notch.
Facts.
A few notches.
I had to wear the swag today. I had to wear the swag to rep. You know what I'm saying? I had to wear the swag. I got the jacket. Yeah, we can show that. We can show that. It's hot out here. But now, real talk, yo, salute CD Projekt Red. I cannot wait to see the journey as you guys continue. Shout out to the presenters. See, I believe her name was Kelly. Tremendous. Really immersed you in the world. Got you in the sense of every aspect of what was going on through every scene, every dialogue choice, every weighted decision, every option, every counter option. You know, she just showed this that it's not scripted, and the amount of things you can do is vast. So salute CD Projekt Red, LordsOfGaming.net exclusive. You already know, and we out.
Show no respect, and no shit, nobody goes to sleep. This evening, followed by gunshots from several blocks down the street. Fortunately, fire crews report they've managed to contain the blaze. Authorities are now.
V, my man, you made it. You blowing up all over the news. Are you alone?
I just want the money.
You got the chip? All right, start her up, Bug. Why don't you go to the bathroom, wash up, we gonna be with you in a minute.
What?
Oh, come on, man. Your neck, it's a mess.
While hotel security has yet to comment, we do know the suspect seems to have fled the scene.
Initiating combat mode.
Go!
Destination confirmed.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about! Alright! In and out, bitches! We're rich! Oh, we are going to the major leagues, Jackie! Jack? Oh, shit! No. Okay, get to a clinic, now.
Mr. Wells' condition is critical.
Go!
Immediate medical
It's gonna
help
be okay,
is required.
just hold on, Hey, just think about all the good shit we're gonna have, huh? I'm sorry. Take the fucking chip decks.
Every corporal cop in this city's gonna be blasting down these doors after what you and your psycho friend did. We didn't need all this cocksucking attention, damn it.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.